Red Bull's top gun Max Verstappen says he expects he will retire from F1 should the sport's next regulations not be nice and fun, despite a signed contract through to the end of 2028. Verstappen has committed to Red Bull Racing for 2026, but says he can leave the sport easily tomorrow, hinting at exit clauses in his deal, even though he is fighting for a fifth straight crown in Abu Dhabi this weekend. But the Dutch star says that he's not in F1 to win 7 titles, and that he has a lot of other passions and racing categories to explore, and a young family to spend time with beyond the sport. I know that there are 3 more years after this one, so it could be possible, but it is not something I need to do before I leave the sport, he said. Red Bull is set to announce Isaac Hadjar this week as Verstappen's 2026 teammate, with top junior driver Arvid Lindblad set to be promoted to Red Bull's sister team Racing Bulls, further strengthening its future assault. Four-time world champion Sebastian Vettel has lauded McLaren's Lando Norris for his strength in the final third of the season, but also his ability to speak his mind out of the car. Norris began the year with confidence, especially after his win in Australia, but mistakes seen in China sprint qualifying and a crash with his McLaren teammate Oscar Piastri in Canada put him on the back foot. Vettel, though, told F1's official podcast Beyond the Grid that while he has always admired Norris's openness with media and fans, he was impressed by the Brits' fight back to title contention from mid-season.
There was maybe a phase in the season where he was struggling a little bit more to get that ultimate consistency and that peak performance. But yeah, very impressed with his driving, and I think the weekend in Mexico was probably one of the best he's ever had.
Ferrari's Charles Leclerc is hoping for a strong season finale in Abu Dhabi to create some happiness over the break, following a frustrating race in Qatar that tested his resolve. Ferrari is facing a first season without a Grand Prix win since 2021, with highlights being Lewis Hamilton's sprint pole and victory in China, and Leclerc's 7 podiums, with his most recent in Mexico. But Leclerc says it can't get much worse than Qatar, where he says there was not one lap through the weekend where Ferrari had been competitive, and that it would be depressing to end the season with a second straight disappointing weekend. I had no confidence in the car, I had no pace in the car, I had nothing in the car. So it's just, I'm quite glad the weekend is over, to be honest, he said. Aston Martin dropped a bombshell ahead of Qatar with news that its star signing, F1 design guru Adrian Newey, would replace Andy Cowell as its team principal from 2026. Aston Martin wants to make giant strides forward after 2 uncompetitive seasons and has spared no expense in its quest with a new factory and an A-list cast of F1's brightest technical minds. But disagreements between Newey and Cowell, amid a wider restructure of its technical team, are reported to have forced Aston Martin's co-owner Lawrence Stroll to act. With Cowell shifted to become Chief Strategy Officer, where he will work closely with the team's partners to ensure the seamless integration of the new for 2026 Works Honda Power Unit, fuel and chassis. Newey is the greatest F1 designer of all time, but it remains to be seen as to whether he can handle both technical and team boss functions. Mercedes has revealed that rookie Andrea Kimi Antonelli's jump start in Las Vegas was due to an issue with their car and not an early clutch drop. The Italian was handed a 5-second time penalty for a jump start at F1's 3rd and final American race for the season, which only became clear in slow-motion replay, so small was the indiscretion. But while it was thought to be a driver error, Mercedes has since clarified that Antonelli did everything right in the start procedure.
Now, we think what happened is at that point the car started to roll was the point he takes his foot off the brakes. So as they get ready for the start, they remove their foot, and that's only a second or so before the lights actually go out. And whether it's the vibration of the car or, if there was there might have been some torque in the driveline, but it certainly wasn't Kimi and the clutch that made it creep forward.
Australian Grand Prix host Melbourne finally got its taste of the official F1 exhibition last weekend, with Saturday marking the show's grand opening. Held at the Melbourne Convention and Exhibition Centre through to April 19th next year, the show pays homage to Australia's F1 heritage, from its two world champions, Sir Jack Brabham and Alan Jones, through to race winners like Mark Webber, Daniel Ricciardo, and Oscar Piastri. The show's producer said that Melbourne has the best view yet, with the production honed across previous residencies in Madrid, Vienna, Toronto, London, Buenos Aires, and Amsterdam.
We believe that the Melbourne version is likely the best version yet, because all those things have come together so well.
Mercedes Junior Dorian Pain says her new title as 2025 champion of all-female Series F1 Academy sounds perfect. The Frenchwoman, who was racing for Top Squad Prema, beat her Dutch rival, MP Motorsport's Maya Woog, a Ferrari protege, at the final round in Las Vegas to take the title, her first in the series by 15 points. Pain, who spoke to official podcast F1 Nation in the aftermath, lifted the crown in her second year in the series, having scored points at all rounds she competed in, dating back to 2024.
I'm really happy about being champion. Obviously, so much work behind it, and we were working to win races, to win championship, and we did it today. So very happy about this achievement. I'm thinking about how I started when I was 9. I couldn't believe it that I'm actually here today and being champion. So it feels amazing.
Mick Schumacher hasn't ruled out a future return to F1, despite inking a deal last week for a full-time Indycar seat in 2026, with Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing keeping him stateside. Schumacher spent 2 years racing in F1 with backmarker Haas in 2021 and 2022, before moving onto the sidelines as Mercedes reserve in 2023. He then cut ties with the Silver Arrows to focus on a return to racing via a World Endurance Championship hypercar drive with Alpine, with 2025 his second and final season with the French Marc. But when an F1 return with Cadillac for 2026 fell through, he pivoted to a single-seater switch and signed for Rahal Letterman Lanigan after an initial test in October at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Schumacher said that while he is 100% committed to his American Odyssey, it doesn't necessarily close the door on an F1 return.
IndyCar was the best option. I just had to kind of confirm it to me and to everybody around me that this is something that I can see myself doing for the long term. And therefore, yeah, I think that the decision-making process was pretty simple.
Thanks for watching. To stay up to speed on all things Formula One, make sure you hit the subscribe button.